Hey, thanks for listening to Catch My Six. Please remember to hit that follow button, hit that notification bell so you can get all the updates when a new episode comes out. And if you have any feedback for us, leave us a message on anchor.fm. We'd love to hear from you. Help us get the word out there, spread the positivity, and follow us on Instagram. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Catch My Six. I'm super excited that you guys are here with me. Unfortunately, Tim is not with me today. He had a lot of stuff going on. He's actually working 12-hour shifts throughout the night. So I'm tackling this episode by myself, and that's all right because I had a really unique experience that really showed me how to change my perspective and the importance of doing so. And it comes at a time that's perfect for the Christmas holidays coming up. So I hope you guys enjoy the episode, and let's go ahead and get right into it. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year's. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Catch My Six. Man, what a crazy week it was. We didn't upload an episode last week. Tim was extremely busy. I took the family on a vacation. It was just down the road. We didn't go, too crazy, obviously, with everything going on. But even with that, we were just an hour and a half away from our home, and I still found a way to contract COVID. So that's leading up into this week. But, thanks for coming, and thanks for hitting that play button. I appreciate you guys being here. Go ahead and give us a follow, give us a like, and share us with, your friends and family out there if you think that they might be able to benefit. So kind of going into a little bit about this week, we experienced a lot of pretty unfortunate events, and one thing I want to talk about is kind of perspective. So throughout the week, on Monday, we decided to take the kids down to the beach, and we knew that Monday and Tuesday weren't going to be very busy. Everyone kind of crowds the beach on the weekends and heads home on Sunday or Monday morning. So us getting there Monday afternoon, it shouldn't have been very busy, and my estimation was correct. It wasn't busy at all. There was actually nobody on the beach. And I mean nobody. So it was really crazy to see, but it was awesome for the kids. And we were able to go down there. Very little contact. We rented a hotel while we were there, and we took the kids on Tuesday to go see the museum. What museum was that? The USS Lexington Museum down there in Corpus Christi. And what an amazing museum to go see. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It's fantastic. So tons and tons of history down there. Lots of stuff to learn. The kids absolutely loved it. But when we ended up pulling into the parking spot, my car started to sputter and pop and so on and so forth. And it basically started to misfire, and I didn't know why. It's a 2-hour drive from my house down there, and it had no issues whatsoever the entire drive. And then now all of a sudden we're pulling into park, and pop 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 pop. So it was a little frustrating. But we went and saw the museum. I decided to put that aside and say, you know what? Whether I sit here and try and figure it out, or we go and see the museum and come back to it, either way, it's still going to be here. So let's just go have a good time. We came here for the kids, and so that's what we did. And so instead of focusing on why my car was doing that, I decided to just understand that it was and put it to the side and be like, it's not important right now. And so took the kids to go see the museum. It was fantastic. And, you know, when we came back out, lo and behold, we started the car and it was having some issues. So, one thing I wanted to make sure was that we got off the island. That's where the USS Lexington is. And so I wanted to make sure we got off that island. It was a very, very risky move. I know that. But, you know, we had to take that massive bridge. And so it was very risky to take that bridge, especially with a car that was acting up. But I had full faith, especially with just a misfire, that the car could make it. So I was right, and we made it over the bridge. Stress level came back down as I came down the bridge. And so, you know, we went to a auto parts store. I won't mention the name, but they weren't allowing me to use the code reader. They weren't even testing the code reader myself because of COVID, which is fine. But, you know, it was very inconvenient, you know, having car issues, needing it to be tested and not being able to get it tested. So that was frustrating and, you know, a little upsetting. But again, you know, I just had to change my perspective and look at it as, you know, I've made it this far. We're off the bridge. We're in a location where we're safe. We're at least accessible to a tow truck, to a mechanic if need be. Like we're okay, you know. And yeah, I can sit there and be upset at the fact that I don't have a engine light reader, but in reality, you know, we're okay. We're safe. And so I knew there was another auto parts store down the street that was about 3 minutes away. And again, I risked it, and luckily my risk paid off. So we made it to the other auto parts store, and they had just started allowing people to use the engine check light reader again, and so that worked out fantastic. And so yeah, got the engine checked, and turns out that it was a misfire in cylinder one. The suggested actions were changing out the coils and changing out the spark plugs. So I knew I had just changed the spark plugs, so the coils was the next step. So I decided to change all the coils. That's something that I could do, and I had the tools there that they were allowing me to use. So and most of these tools were like brand new. They opened up brand new tools for me. So the risk of, you know, spreading COVID was pretty low. But you know, I changed out the coils, but it just didn't fix the problem. And so unfortunately, we came to the conclusion that it was probably a fuel injector, because on the chip reader, on the engine check light reader, it said one part down there was the fuel injector stuck open. So it wasn't a suggested fix. It wasn't part of the solutions that Dodge had put on the website, but I think it was just because with the codes that we're reading, there were a lot more codes that had to do with the electrical system, the coils, and the spark plugs than there were with the fuel injector. So it had, you know, kind of chose to fix the electrical system first. Rightfully so. If you're having a lot of trouble with one system and only a little with the other one, you're probably going to fix the bigger issue first. And so that's what we did. We fixed the electrical system. But anyways, it didn't fix the problem. So I knew it was a fuel injector. I didn't have any of the tools needed to do that piece, or really the knowledge to do it. Like if I was in my own garage, I'd be able to kind of tinker with it. But in reality, I just don't have the know-how. So especially not in a auto parts store parking lot. So I ended up taking the car back to the hotel, and that was like a 20-minute drive. It was scary. I did not like doing it. But knowing that the injector was reading, or the chip reader, engine check light reader, was saying that the fuel injector was stuck open, I knew that if I kept the RPMs high, that the fuel demand from that the injector would have been met by the engine demand. And so I wouldn't be flooding the engine. I'd be more utilizing the fuel that's being dumped into the engine. So kept the RPMs high. The engine was actually running pretty well. And so if I kept it at a lower RPM, it sounded like it was like choking, because, you know, the fuel injector is stuck open. It's just pouring fuel in there. And so I kept the RPMs high, which allowed the engine to work a little bit harder and burn the fuel that it was supplying. And so I made it back to the hotel. Unfortunately, the very next day, it did not the dealership did not have an appointment for me, and so had to schedule it for 2 days out. So at this point on the trip, I went out there for a 1 day. That's all I wanted to do was just 1 day, take the kids down to the beach. We had planned a cool little horse ride trip for my daughter, kind of an early Christmas present. And then I was going to take the rest of the kids out on the big aircraft carrier, which was awesome. And, that was going to be our whole trip and just, come on home. But, it ended up turning into at that point, 3-day trip. And so while I fixed the coils in that parking lot, that was like a 3-hour job. Because on the engine that I have, you have to remove the entire intake manifold just to access any of that. So it was a lot of work, a lot of hours put into it. My day was way longer than I had wanted it to be. We had to schedule 2 more nights on top of the trip, so that was more money out of our pocket. Luckily we had a hotel that had a kitchen in it, so we were able to cook inside the kitchen. But this is kind of where I needed to change my perspective, right? So you have all this negativity, all this bad stuff kind of going on, right? The car breaking down. It's a problem beyond what I'm capable of fixing. The dealership doesn't have any appointments available till 2 days after. I have to get more nights at the hotel. But, here's why I had to learn to change my perspective, because my kids the entire time, man, they were having a blast. While I changed those coils in the parking lot, my wife was right there with me holding a flashlight, learning what the coils were, learning that the spark plugs were down there, learning, what the torque measurements were on the engine, learning all of these things, helping me take the intake manifold off, all that. Like, it was a wonderful time for her because she'd never seen anything like that. So it was great one-on-one time with her. The kids were having a blast inside the car. I disconnected the battery, so they were in there just, bouncing around in the car and, doing their thing, and they were having fun. Like, you could hear the laughter from outside the car while we were in the engine compartment. They were just laughing and carrying on inside the car, and it was wonderful. And so I chose to focus on those things. When we had to deal with the hotel, we thought about the hotel and how, we had to come out of pocket. But then I remembered that I have a lot of points with this hotel from just, accumulating over time. And then with COVID, they've been able to kind of hold my points longer. So I literally was able to keep my points or get all the rooms for, points. I didn't have to pay out of pocket for anything. And so, that was a blessing because I didn't have to pay for any of that stuff. I didn't have to come out of pocket for any of that stuff. It was literally all points. And so that was phenomenal. A stress that we didn't have to take on. As far as eating out, my daughter is allergic to a lot of food. And so we initially got a hotel room that had a kitchen. And so we were able to go to the local Walmart and get a ton of food. And, that was an expense we weren't calculating. But it's okay because, we were able to do that. Instead of putting, if we went down there for 1 day and said, we'll take the risk. We'll go eat at, a place that we know meets the standards for my daughter. This 1 day and just kind of, risk it. But we'll be okay with that. That's one thing. But for us to have a hotel where we could literally be able to, cook for our daughter, it was phenomenal. It was such a blessing. And then on top of that, when we contacted the hotel, when we showed up, they saw how many kids we had. They looked for upgrade availability, and they ended up putting us in a 2-bedroom suite. Just such a blessing, man. Like, the kids had their own room with 2 queens in it. Me and the wife had our own room with a king bed in it. It was phenomenal, and we didn't pay any extra points for that. It was just such a blessing. And so, I could look at, man, I'm spending all these points on hotels, or I'm going out to Walmart and spending hundreds of dollars on food because we're staying extra nights when we shouldn't have had to do that in the first place. I had to pay $155 on coils, which are the parts that I use to fix the engine, or what I thought would fix the engine. I could focus on all of that stuff, but what I would have really missed was how much fun my kids had in that hotel. They had so much fun. They called it their second home. And they said, "This is our new home, Dad. We like this." And so, there was times in the day where they didn't even want to go to the beach. They wanted to go to the hotel. They were having so much fun. They have my brother got them a remote control truck last year for Christmas, and they were playing with that on the beach. Brought it back into the hotel and started, chasing each other around with that throughout the entire hotel room. Our hotel room was above offices, so at night, we weren't disturbing anybody. But, they were just having a blast, just having so much fun. And I would have missed it all if I would have been so focused on the fact that I was spending a lot, that I was using a lot of points, that I was, had a broke down car. Like, I'd have been missing it all when all of that stuff worked itself out. And so to kind of fast forward a little bit, the appointment time came, and, well, let me come back just a little bit. So that second day we were there, the first day, on Monday we showed up, we stayed the night. Tuesday was when we had the car issues. Wednesday we had a whole day of nothing. Couldn't go anywhere because the car was broke down. And our appointment wasn't until Thursday, so like that was just a full day of nothing. And I'm the kind of person that has to keep moving. I have to keep doing something, And so to keep myself busy, I just focused on the kids. And so we knew we needed groceries, so we just took all the kids down to Walmart. We had everyone's mask, and so we put everybody in a cart. Wiped down the cart, had them in the cart, and we just walked around Walmart, got the groceries we needed, and then each kid wanted to help, and so we left the cart. We left the cart at the Walmart, and each kid grabbed a bag, and all of us walked back to the hotel, which was like one parking lot away. But for the kids, carrying something from Walmart is a very expensive, or a very long travel. So. The kids had a blast doing that. We had walked all the way back to the hotel, started cooking up some lunch and dinner, and I also cooked up breakfast because the appointment for the car was early in the morning, and I wanted breakfast done for the kids when they woke up. So, it was a wonderful day. We all, the kids sat there and watched TV, and it was actually really funny because, we... In our house, we have a lot of the subscription services. We don't have cable, and so we watch. The kids watch their cartoons, and me and the wife, we watch our shows. And so, but the wife and I don't really watch our shows until the kids are in bed. And so, when the kids were in the hotel room, you have only what the cable has available, and so the kids are flipping through the channels, and they come across South Park. And, to them, it's just a cartoon. But me and my wife, we hear it in the other room. We're like, wait, what the heck? And so we run in there. We're like, no. We got to change that. So we change it. We put it on like Nickelodeon. They get bored with whatever's on the TV. So they start changing it again. And then they find Family Guy. And me and the wife are in the other room. And we hear Peter Griffin start laughing. And we're like, what the heck? So we run in there. And, it's just little things like that. It's just the little things that you would have missed out, that I would have missed out on if I'd have just been focusing on the negative of the trip. We ended up spending like quadruple what we had planned. Just because like the food itself that we have to eat is very expensive, and so there was a lot of stresses with this last week, and then I go to the dealership on Thursday. And, they take care of the car. They do their inspection, and they end up, fixing the fuel injector, and it was great. It was wonderful. And so, We had planned to just get the car fixed and head home, but it was so early in the day. Once they got the car fixed, and it was covered by the warranty, which was phenomenal. I paid $100 out of pocket, which is my deductible, and it was like over $500 worth of repairs. So, like I said, guys, it's just how you look at it. I could sit there and be upset at the fact that I had to take the car into the shop, and how, I didn't want to spend my week, sitting in a dealership getting the car fixed and so on. But I mean, in reality, it was paid for by, well, I wouldn't say it was paid for by the warranty, because I had bought the warranty, but the warranty itself covered the cost. And it's such a blessing. I didn't have to come out of pocket over $500 for a car part, when all I had to pay was $100. So again, just looking at the positive. And the day was so early that I decided to head back to the hotel. We checked out of the hotel just in time, so we weren't charged the late checkout fee, and we headed down to the beach again. We just left to go to the beach. And we're actually really, really lucky we did. So we went down to the beach. We just played in the sand for a little bit. The kids went nuts. I mean, they were wet. They got in the water, which was not something, we wanted them to do. But if any of y'all have kids, you know how it goes. One minute you're telling them stay out of the water. The next minute you're just trying to keep them, from getting too wet. So it was just a great time. The kids were having fun. And again, even on Thursday, the beach was empty. And I think on Thursday we saw like 2 people, and they walked by, well over 6 feet away. They were on a sidewalk, about, 15 feet away from the water. And we were down by the water building sandcastles. So, we had a wonderful time. But luckily we went to the beach that day, because we started to like really smell gasoline. And I smelt it when I first started the car and left the dealership, but I had figured, they had just messed with the fuel system. It's probably has to do with that. So, we'll just kind of let the fuel smell kind of go away. Well, when we went down to the beach, my wife tried to start up the van, and it started to sputter, like ba 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 ba, and it wouldn't start. And so she shut it off, and then tried it again, and it fired right up. And so she told me about it, and I was like, okay, that's pretty weird. And I smelled a lot of fuel, and I was like, okay, something's not right here. And so my first thought was that there was a fuel leak somewhere, just because I smelled so much fuel. And so I called the dealership and I told them what was going on, and they had mentioned, the fuel smell should go away, but the needing to try and start it multiple times, that's not really normal. If you want to bring it in, we'll take a look at it. I'm like, okay, cool. And so I took it to them. They were actually on our way out of town. So, I took it to them. They looked at it, and sure enough, the fuel injector right next to the one they changed was the seal broke. And so it was just spraying fuel and puddling on top of the engine. And so luckily we took it in there. Luckily we spent a little bit more time down there in Corpus, because we were planning on coming home. And if we had just come home, who knows what the other dealership would have done if they had seen that, So luckily we took it back to the same dealership that did the maintenance, and they realized their mistake. They fixed it, and they got it all fixed up, and we headed home. And then it wasn't until Friday morning that I felt really sick and realized that a lot of my symptoms lined up with COVID. So the one final test that I did on myself to determine whether or not I had COVID symptoms was the taste test. And if any of you guys use oils, like essential oils, we use a lot of essential oils in our house. And so I took some oregano oil. I took 4 drops in one little shot glass. And if you guys don't know what oils are, oregano oil is one hot oil. Not all of them are hot, but this one just happens to be. And it's really good for your immune system. However, it burns. And so, I took the shot and I didn't feel a thing, And I knew at that moment, like, it didn't burn at all. And I was like, okay, I definitely lost my sense of taste. So scheduled an appointment, went in yesterday, got swabbed through my nose, and yeah, came back positive for COVID. So that's kind of been my week, and it's been pretty crazy. It's been pretty hectic. But I really had to change my perspective on the week. I could have looked at that week and been upset, been, kind of overwhelmed with the situation, but I changed my perspective, kind of like, sometimes you got to change your perspective the same way as you change your filter on Instagram. You just got to look at it from a different angle, and sometimes when you do that, you can see a brighter image, and that's what I chose to do this week. And I saw a lot of things that I would have really missed out on if I was just upset the whole time. My kids laughing and having a blast in that hotel. My wife and I being able to share that experience of going through the mechanics of the car and kind of explaining what the parts do, the parts that I'm swapping out, what they do. Her helping me out and getting tools from inside, holding the flashlight, all those things. Like, it was such a wonderful time. Me and the kids played checkers in the hotel room, and it's just one thing after another, man. Like, it was just a great experience that we had. It was just so fun. And, like I said, I could have been angry. I could have been upset the whole time looking at, all the money I'm pouring out. Like I said, I spent quadruple what I had intended to spend on that week. And it was not something I was prepared to do. And, we had to make a lot of financial adjustments. But, we had fun. We had a lot of fun, and that money I can't get back. I know that, but those experiences I can have forever. They'll never go away. And so being able to think back on that time and remember those good times that we had, all the laughs that the kids had, the fun from me chasing them around the hotel, playing hide and seek in the massive hotel room, the kids helping me cook. The fact that I had to cook for a family of 6 with, two like tiny pots, it was like the whole time, it was just a wonderful time. And I could have missed it all if I had, thought of being negative. So, this week, I just want to focus with you guys and tell you guys, like, just look at the positive. Sometimes you just got to focus on the positive and change your perspective on how you're looking at your current situation. I know sometimes it's hard to do. Sometimes it's really hard to do, but it's possible. It's 100% possible. To kind of give you another example real quick, Duke, my dog, I told you guys that I was going through some grieving when I lost my dog, when we had to put him down. But one thing that I realized through that experience was, like I said, I used to be a very aggressive, very angry person, and Duke helped me, calm down. Duke helped me, find, peace in certain situations just by laying his head on me, or just by helping me identify when, I'm starting to get anxious, starting to get overwhelmed and things like that. Because he, like I said, he, no lie, would come up and lay his head on my lap, or he would, put his body against mine and kind of like get in my way to slow me down. He would, nudge me. He would sit in front of me. He would, do those things. And, he really helped me just identify when I was getting anxious or overwhelmed. And so, when he left and we had to put him down, I realized, like, as much as I want him here with me, that part of me where I needed him, where I needed to grow, I didn't need to grow there anymore. I was better. I was okay. I can identify when I'm getting overwhelmed. I can identify when I'm being, too aggressive in a certain situation, or where I'm, getting too anxious. I can identify those things. And his time here on earth with me to help me identify those things, he was successful. His job here was done, and his goal was fulfilled, and it was his time to return home to God, which is what I believe. And, so God called him home, and, now it's time for me to focus my energy and my attention on the other puppies that we have, and just continue growing in that path. And so, I sat back a lot and questioned, like, why is he gone? Why is this happening to me? You know, especially right now, you know? And when I finally saw that and realized that, like, man, you know, he's helped me grow a lot. And now, you know, I don't need his help growing. I would love for him to be here with me as I continue to grow. But, you know, at the time that we got Duke, I was in a very low place. And then the time that he left, I'm a lot different. I'm a lot better. And, you know, I truly feel like that was his purpose. Just in the timeline of my life, I truly feel like that was his purpose, was to help me grow as a friend, as a companion, as a father, as a person, and I have. And so it was his time to go. And so looking at it like that, I find peace in that situation. And so it's hard to do. It's not easy, but you know, I truly find peace in that. And so, like I said, change your perspective. You can do it. I've been able to do it, and it helped me out a lot. And so I encourage that you do it. I know you can. And, you know, thanks again for coming. I'm very proud of you guys for continuing to hit that play button. Follow, like, and share. Share this episode with your friends. I believe it's an awesome message for anybody to really listen to. And, you know, if you guys have any questions, go to my Instagram page and give us, you know, any feedback that you have, or ask us any questions. Hit us with a message, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks, guys, for coming. Remember, always progression, never regression. You can't change yesterday, and you can't predict tomorrow. All you can do is focus on today. Be better today than you were yesterday, and you'll always be in a state of progression if you live that way. We'll see you guys.